Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create GoToWebinar Registrant on Contact Form 7 submission. So I am a personality development coach and I manage all the webinars that I organize using GoToWebinar. And using Contact Form 7, I have created a form with the help of which I am collecting the registrant from the people who are interested in the webinar that I am hosting. Here what I want is that as soon as any of the interested person who is interested in my webinar, a new form submission is going to be done using Contact Form 7 for registering themselves in the webinar that I'm hosting. Automatically, I wanted to create that person as a registrant in my GoToWebinar account. Now, doing this manually is going to be very time consuming. So what I've done is I've simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. And here in this automation, I'm going to build a connection between Contact Form 7 and GoToWebinar with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you also want to learn about this amazing automation process step by step, for that let me take you to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to create GoToWebinar Registrant on Contact Form 7 submission. So as a personality development coach, I frequently organize webinars to connect with my audience. And I use Contact Form 7 on my website to collect details of my potential attendees who register for my webinars. And I also rely on GoToWebinar to host my webinars because it provides professional platform. The challenge that I face is manually transferring the registrant details from my Contact Form 7 submission to my GoToWebinar account, which is very time consuming and may lead to errors. The solution is automation. Now, by integrating Contact Form 7 to GoToWebinar, whenever any of the registrants register themselves for the webinar, automatically they are going to be created as a registrant in my webinar, in my GoToWebinar account. And for that, I'm going to create automation using Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly apps window in front of you, in which you can see all the applications of Pabbly, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on this Access Now button. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow over here, I'm going to give it as Create GoToWebinar Registrant on Contact Form 7 submission. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it's asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. Further, click on this drop down. These are the folders from which I'm going to select GoToWebinar Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving the name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this Create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create GoToWebinar Registrant on Contact Form 7 submission, and there are two windows in front of you. One says Trigger, other says Action. So what is Trigger and Action? Trigger and Action are the two most important steps of our automation process because our process depends on these two concepts. Over here, Trigger says when this happens, and Action says do this. That means what is Action? Action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Contact Form 7. Contact Form 7 is a simple, popular plugin for WordPress websites that allows us to create and manage forms easily. It helps us to collect information from our website visitors such as their name, email, and other details that we need. And using Contact Form 7, I have created a form with the help of which I am collecting the registrations of the webinar that I'm hosting as a coach. I want that as soon as the form submission is going to be done by the registrant using Contact Form 7, automatically Pabbly Connect should capture the response of that. And that is why for my trigger application, I have selected it as Contact Form 7, okay? And for the trigger event, I'm going to select it as New Form Submission. After selecting the trigger application and the event, over here Pabbly Connect has provided us with the webhook URL. With the help of this unique webhook URL, we are going to build the connection between Contact Form 7 and Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this URL from here. After copying the URL, using this URL, we're going to connect Contact Form 7 to Pabbly Connect. For that, I'm going to open the form that I've created using Contact Form 7. So this is the form that I've created using Contact Form 7. I'm going to connect this to Pabbly Connect. For doing that, over here from the left side of the panel, firstly, we have to go to this plugin section. And over here, I'm going to go to my install plugins section, okay? In order to connect Contact Form 7 to Pabbly Connect, we have to install a plugin in the name of Contact Form 7. You have to install this plugin over here from this add new plugin section. You can install this plugin. I've already installed it right here. And as you're going to install it, now you can connect your Pabbly Connect account to your Contact Form 7. Okay. Now what we are going to do is, as we have installed this plugin right over here, after installing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my form. For that, I'm going to go to this Contact Forms right here. These are all the different forms that I've created, and using this registration form, I'm collecting the data of my registrants. Okay, I'm going to go to this edit button right here. After coming to the edit section, over here from this panel, I'm going to go to this webhook section right here. After coming to the webhook section, as you're going to install the plugin, this is going to appear in front of you. Over here it says integrate and it says send to webhook. I want to send the form submission to webhook. For that, I'm going to toggle this button right here. It is asking for the URL. For this field, I'm going to paste the webhook URL that Pabbly Connect has provided us. Okay. After doing that, what I'm going to do is I want to save these changes. For that, I'm going to click on the save button right here. As I've done that, it says contact form saved. This means this webhook URL is added to this form that we have created using Contact Form 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. It is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Contact Form 7 is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the test form submission of this form that I've created. And after doing the test submission, I'm going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response of the test form submission being done or not. Okay. For that, I'm going to do the test submission. For doing the test submission, I'm going to open the edit page of my form that I've created using Contact Form 7. So this is the form that I've created, and to do the test submission, this is the link. I'm going to open this link in a new tab, and this is the form that I've created using which I'm collecting the registration data of my registrants. Okay. It is asking for the first name over here. So for the first name of my registrant, I'm going to write it as Smart. For the last name over here, I'm going to write it as Test56. For the email over here, I'm going to write it as smarttest56@pabblytudes.com. And for the phone number over here, I'm going to write in a dummy mobile number. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this submit button right here. As I've done that, you can see it says thank you for your message. It has been sent. This means now the test submission is done. As now the test submission is done, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. And yes, you can see right over here, Pabbly Connect has captured the response successfully. For the first name as Smart, last name as Test56. For the phone number, there's the phone number. Email as smarttest56@pabblytudes.com. As the response of the form submission has been captured over here, this means that Contact Form 7 has now been successfully connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. Now what is going to happen that every time by the registrant a new registration is going to be done using Contact Form 7, automatically in the similar manner Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of that. Now after we have received the response, I want to create this person who have done the form submission using Contact Form 7 as a registrant in my GoToWebinar account. Now for that, we're going to set up our action step, and for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as GoToWebinar. GoToWebinar is an online platform designed for hosting webinars, virtual events, and online presentations. It provides all tools you need to engage with your audience, such as screen sharing, live polls, Q&A sessions, and the ability to record the webinars. I use GoToWebinar in order to manage all the webinars that I host as a coach. I want to create the registrants in this webinar that I'm hosting, that is Mastering Public Speaking, a step-by-step guide. And I want to create the registrants in this webinar right here as I'm hosting this webinar right here. Okay. Now for doing that, we're going to set up an action step. For the action application, I've already selected it as GoToWebinar. And for the action event, I'm going to select it as Create Registrant. Okay. And then I'm going to click on this Connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on Add New Connection, or else you can select the existing connection that you have, okay? After that, over here, it is asking for the from time and the to time. From which time of the webinar to which time of the webinar we are hosting. So for that, I'm going to open the webinar that I've created. This is the webinar in the name of Mastering Public Speaking, a step-by-step guide. And the timing of this webinar is from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, it's an 1 hour webinar. So over here, my from time is going to be 10 a.m. to my to time is going to be 11 a.m. But you can see the time zone is IST, that is Indian Standard Time. You can see right here. And over here it is asking in the UTC format right here. So for the UTC format, we have to take out the UTC time zone as well. For that, I'm going to open a new tab and search for IST to UTC converter. Okay, I'm going to select any of the converter from here. Let's suppose I'm going to select this. Okay, over here it is asking for the IST time, that is the Indian Standard Time. My webinar starts from 10 a.m. So over here for the start time, I'm going to simply select it as 10 a.m. Okay, so this is the time. So IST is 10 a.m. So the UTC is going to be 4:30 a.m. Okay, so now what we are going to do is over here we have to enter the time. Over here, this is the example that how we have to enter the time. I'm going to paste it. The date of the webinar first is 28th of December 2024. So I'm going to enter over here as, you can see it is 28th of December 2024. And the timing over here is going to be 4:30, okay? Because this is the UTC time zone for the 10 a.m., okay? So this is the from time zone. Now my to time zone is going to be, again, I'm going to search over here for 11 a.m., which is going to be 5:30 a.m. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to again copy this format from here and paste it right over here. The date is 28th of December 2024. So I'm going to enter the date right here. You can see it is 20th of December 2024 and the timing is going to be 5:30. Okay, so this is the UTC time zone format of the from and to right here. I'm going to close the converter. After entering the time over here, I'm going to click on this connect to GoToWebinar button. As I'm going to do that, you can see we successfully authorized GoToWebinar to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, it is asking for us to select a webinar. I have created a webinar in the name of Mastering Public Speaking, a step-by-step guide. So for the webinar in which I want to create the registrant is this webinar right over here. So I'm going to select this webinar, okay? After that, it's asking for the first name, last name, and all the details of the registrant that you want to create. So for the data of these fields, what we are going to do is we are going to map the data. What is mapping? Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. How it works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field, over here you can see this was the previous step of this workflow. And as I'm going to click on it, this was the same response that was captured in our previous step. It is asking for the first name of my registrant that I want to create. I want to create this person. I've done the form submission using contact form 7 as a registrant in my GoToWebinar account. So for the data of this first name field, I'm going to select the data of the first name from my previous response. As I've selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped. And as I mapped the data has now become dynamic. Now, whenever a new form submission is going to be done by the contact form 7 and a new response is going to be received, this mapped data is going to be automatically updated according to the new response, okay? For the last name, similarly, I'm going to map the data of the last name. Email, I'm going to map the data of the email. After that, it is asking for all these details, which I do not require, so I'm going to skip the part. And simply for the phone number, I'm going to enter the phone number right here, and I'm going to add a plus sign over here, okay? After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this Save and Send Test Request button. As I've done that over here, you can see we've received a response in which we have received a registrant key, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my GoToWebinar account and check whether a new registration has been created or not. For that, I'm going to open my GoToWebinar account. This is the webinar that I'm hosting. And now I'm going to scroll down right over here. You can see it says registration. I'm going to click on it, okay? If I'm going to scroll down, okay, you can see over here it says total registrants. I'm going to click on it. And you can see over here a new registration in the name of smarttest56 with the email as smarttest56@pabblytudes.com has been successfully created. You can see right over here, okay? As the registrant has been successfully created, this means that we successfully created an automation between contact form 7 and GoToWebinar with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to subtler what we have done, I'm a personality development coach and I manage my webinars with the help of GoToWebinar. And I collect the data of my registrants using the form that I've created using contact form 7. Over here in my trigger, I've selected as contact form 7 new form submission, as whenever by the person who is interested to enroll for my webinar, a form submission is going to be done automatically. Trigger is going to capture the response of that. And as we have the response of the form submission of that person is going to be created as a registrant in my GoToWebinar account, as with the help of it, I'm hosting my webinars. Okay. And in this manner, we create this amazing automation between these two applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.